Hey there, horror comedy fans. Welcome back to your nerdy show, where today we're diving into the 2025 film Heart Eyes, a unique blend of romantic comedy and slasher horror. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. If you're a fan of twisted love stories and masked killers, this one's for you. Be careful if you haven't watched the movie yet, because there will be spoilers. We'll break down the movie's plot, explain its wild twists, and look at how the film plays with genre conventions. So grab your popcorn and get ready, because Heart Eyes is anything but your typical slasher flick.
Hey, you good?
Yeah.
Who is the new slasher villain? In Heart Eyes, the title doesn't just hint at romance. It's a chilling reference to a serial killer with a gruesome habit of targeting couples on Valentine's Day. For years, this killer, known as Heart Eyes, has been terrorizing cities across the US, leaving a trail of bodies in his wake. He arrives in Seattle, where the movie's main characters are about to get caught in his deadly game. Detective Jeanette Shaw and her partner Hobbs are on the case, trying to figure out who this masked murderer is and why he's been hunting down couples. At the scene of his first Seattle kill at a winery, they find a clue, a wedding ring engraved with the initials JS, which will turn out to be more significant than they first think. Now let's meet our protagonists, Allie and Jay. Allie is a jewelry designer who's just broken up with her boyfriend, and she's now stuck dealing with a pretty embarrassing situation at work. Her boss, Crystal, orders her to team up with Jay Simmons, a famous jewelry designer she'd met briefly earlier. Despite some awkwardness, they agree to meet for dinner to brainstorm ideas for a commercial that involves couples. But there's some serious tension. Both of them are defensive and guarded when it comes to love. Things take a dramatic turn when Allie spots her ex with a new girlfriend, and to get back at him, she kisses Jay right in front of him. Little do they know, this impulsive move catches the attention of the Heart Eyes killer, who has been lurking in the background. Soon after, Allie and Jay's night takes a dark twist when the killer starts targeting them. Their first confrontation happens after Jay helps Allie break into her apartment, only for the killer to show up, killing their cab driver and chasing them through the streets. What follows is a frantic escape as Allie and Jay fight for their lives, with the killer close behind. During this chase, Jay is knocked out, leaving Allie to fend for herself. Eventually, she ends up at a carousel where she's rescued by the police. But things don't look good for Jay. He's arrested under suspicion of being the killer, partly because of the initials on the wedding ring at the crime scene and his proximity to the murders. The investigation. While Allie waits for answers at the police station, she crosses paths with David, a guy working on the station's computers. But the lights go out, and in a sudden turn of events, Heart Eyes strikes again. The station is plunged into chaos as the killer murders the desk clerk and attacks Allie. Shaw and Hobbs, who are investigating the case, try to stop the killer, but Shaw disappears, and Hobbs ends up dead. Allie, now in a panic, manages to rescue Jay from custody, and together they head to a drive-in theater to hide out, hoping to stay safe from the killer. But things don't get any better. The Heart Eyes killer shows up at the theater and begins slaughtering moviegoers in a terrifying scene. But despite the terror, Allie and Jay begin to bond. They open up to each other, sharing their vulnerabilities, and in this moment, their connection grows stronger. It's during their confrontation with the killer that we get the biggest twist. Jay manages to wound the Heart Eyes killer, and when the mask comes off, we discover that it's not one person behind the mask, but two. Shaw, the detective who's been on the case the whole time, is revealed to be in on the killings. Not only that, but her husband, David, is also one of the killers. The big reveal. At this point, everything changes. We learn that Shaw and David aren't just partners in solving crime, they're partners in murder. The couple's twisted relationship began online when Shaw met David, a mild-mannered IT worker, and discovered they both shared a deep, dark passion for killing. Their love story isn't about flowers and candy. It's about hunting and killing couples together. When they reach Seattle, they recruit an outsider, a fanboy named Eli, to help them continue their killing spree. And that's when things get even more twisted. Allie and Jay, who are just a random couple caught in the chaos, become targets for the killers. Not because they fit the usual victim's profile, but because of a simple kiss that Allie initiates to make her ex jealous. This impulsive act sets off a chain of events that puts them squarely in the killer couple's sights.
Valentine's Day.
Happy V-Day!
Get killed, all right?
What was...
The climax. In the final showdown, Allie and Jay face off against David and Shaw in the St. Valentine's Chapel. Shaw and David, now fully unmasked, give Allie the horrifying choice, kill herself or Jay, but Allie doesn't back down. In a surprising act of bravery, she shoots Shaw, though she accidentally hits Jay in the process. As the two couples struggle, Allie makes a final brutal move, decapitating Shaw on a statue while Jay finishes off David with an arrow from his own bow.
He's like Cupid with a kink.
1 year later, fast forward a year later, and Allie and Jay are doing much better. They've survived the horrors of Hard Eyes and are now living a more peaceful life. Allie is returning to med school, and Jay asks her to move in with him, but Allie surprises him by proposing instead. Jay, of course, accepts, and the two of them seem ready to start a new chapter of their lives, away from the terror of the Hard Eyes killer.
Hey, come on.
The mid-credit scene. Just when we think everything is fine, we get a mid-credit scene that seems to tease a sequel. Allie gets a mysterious phone call in the same threatening tone as the earlier calls from Hard Eyes. She's clearly rattled, but when she picks up the phone, it's revealed to be her best friend, Monica. She was the one taking photos during Allie and Jay's engagement, and she's just pulling Allie's leg. It's a gag that plays on the typical horror movie sequel setup and subverts our expectations. It's a fun way to end the movie, suggesting that the Hard Eyes killer might be gone for good.
Chased by a fucking serial killer.
Themes and meaning. So what's the real takeaway from Hard Eyes? On the surface, it's a horror comedy that subverts genre tropes, poking fun at slasher conventions while still delivering the scares. But if we look a little deeper, it's also about love and relationships. In the chaos and bloodshed, Allie and Jay form a bond that goes beyond mere attraction. They learn to open up to each other, revealing their vulnerabilities and becoming stronger together. In the end, love is a force that can overcome even the darkest forces, even if it means fighting for survival. The film also comments on the nature of relationships and attraction. In a twisted way, the Hard Eyes killers reflect how superficial connections can quickly turn toxic. Shaw and David's relationship is built on murder and manipulation, a far cry from Allie and Jay's more genuine connection that forms despite the chaos. The movie seems to suggest that love, while messy and sometimes scary, is worth fighting for, even when it feels like the world is falling apart around you. Our nerdy thoughts, and that's it for Hard Eyes. A twisted and darkly humorous blend of romance and horror. It's a film that has a lot more going on under the surface than you might initially think. With its mix of gruesome slasher moments and rom-com heart, Hard Eyes delivers a surprisingly sweet ending, all while leaving the door open for more, even if it's just in the form of a cheeky mid-credit joke. If you haven't seen Hard Eyes yet, we definitely recommend checking it out. It's a wild ride from start to finish, with plenty of laughs and scares to keep you hooked. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the movie, and if you'd like to see more horror comedy films like this. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more movie recaps and explanations. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, hopefully without any masked killers lurking in the shadows.
Now what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.